Okay, we've gotten through the first few broadcasts with the new system. Okay, so we successfully got through the first few events with the new system. We did Sunday service, also did a funeral on Monday, and then also recorded a press conference on Tuesday. So we've done a few things, and now we're going to kind of go over what your normal workflow is going to be as you're going through each of your services. So I've added a little sticky note here on the desktop that shows some of the software that we're going to be using as we're doing our live streaming. Okay, so the first thing on the list is the PTZ Optic Software. That's your camera control. That's going to control your PTZ camera. The next thing is Presenter by Worship Tools. That's what we're going to be using to display different types of media on the screens in the sanctuary, and they'll also go into the live stream so that the people online can see it as well. The third thing is Bible Show software. That's our Bible presentation uh, software that is going to actually, again, show the scriptures on the screen in the sanctuary and also on the live stream. The next one is your ATEM software for the ATEM Mini video switcher. Um, we're going to be using that to adjust the audio a little bit if we need to, and also you're going to be able to switch between the PTZ camera and the still camera that is located in the balcony. The next one is NDI Studio Monitor. That software, we're going to be able to use that to have another view of what's going on with the PTZ camera so that you can make sure that everything is where it needs to be and see if there's any adjustments that you need to make. The last one on the list is Evmux. That's our live streaming software. That's where we're going to be able to send the stream out both to YouTube and to Facebook. Okay, so we're on the home screen the way you should see it once you first come in. None of the programs are currently open. I think the only thing I see that is open is the ATEM software, but it's minimized. We'll bring that up in a minute. So the first thing you want to do is open up the PTZ Optic software. That's the little PTZ camera icon here. So I'm going to double click it, and that software is going to open up in the middle of the screen. Okay, we're going to move it over to the right hand corner to get it in a position where we can use it, and we can always have visibility on this software and be able to use it even though other things are going to be up. We want to make sure that this window is always where it can be seen. The first thing you want to do once you open this software is click on the button that says PTZ camera. That without clicking on that button, you have no control of the camera. If you click on it, then at that point you'll see that all of the presets come up, and you will have the ability to control that camera and move it wherever you need to. The next thing we're going to open up is the studio monitor. Okay, and that's going to open up, and it's going to show us a picture of what the PTZ camera sees. So if I move that PTZ camera, I see it moving in this screen as well. If I click any of the presets, I'm going to be able to view it. This is just an extra reference for you in case you need it. And things will be a little bit easier once we get the second monitor added to that laptop, so that you have more real estate to deal with, more places that you can move your programs, and you can actually put them however works best for you. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and click the minus, and I'm gonna minimize this because I don't need it right now, but I just want to make sure that it's open. Okay, the other thing is the ATEM software. That again is going to help you control your audio. One thing to note within the ATEM software, is that right down here, this is the control for the audio coming in. The audio is coming in on mic number 1. Okay, so that one needs to be turned on. These other ones that are on right now, we don't need them, so I'm going to turn them off. And really, what was happening there is that would allow audio to come in from the PTZ camera if there was a mic connected to it, or that Cam 2, that stationary camera. It definitely would pick up on the mic there. And so we don't want those to be on because they would actually be picking up the audio from the balcony. And so, your conversations and everything would be heard. So the only thing that we want to have here is on mic 1, and that is where the lead from the mixing board is plugged into the ATEM mini switcher. Okay. The other thing that we could use this for, if we go over to the switcher tab, this is where we can actually switch between cameras. So if I was to click on camera 2, it would go ahead and immediately switch over to that camera. The other way of doing it is clicking this auto button, and then it would fade between the cameras. So it would fade to camera 2, and if I click it again, it'll fade back to camera 1. Okay, so we're just gonna leave that as it is. And again, if you don't need to get into that software, you can go ahead and minimize it so it's out of the way. Okay, the next thing we want to do is open up Bible Show. Again, that's our Bible presentation software, and we're going to be using that to show the Bible on the screen. This one is a little bit different. If we want to minimize that, there's no minus button to minimize it. This little square box right here is what would be used to minimize that. So if I click this, that is going to go away, but it is down in the system tray. So if I clicked it, it would come right back. So you do have access to get back to it. The next thing we want to open up is Presenter. That's Presenter by Worship Tools. I'll go ahead and double click that. And right now it's logging into your account so it can bring up all of your assets. Again, I'm going to take this and drag this over kind of to the left so that I can still see my PTZ Optic software. Then I can take my mouse up to the top, and when the icon changes from the arrow to the up and down arrow, I can just double click it, and it's going to stretch it down to the bottom of the screen. Okay, that gives me a chance to see as much of it as I can without obscuring the PTZ Optics software. Okay, so we have a service that's set up here, and really you can use this service every week if you want to. You don't have to create new services. So if I want to just go into this, I just click on it, and it brings up all the assets on the left for that service. Okay, so down at the bottom here, we have a preview window that's really going to show you what is going to go up on the screens in the sanctuary. So if I was to click on the Greater Peace wallpaper, I would see that come up in the preview window, and at the same time, it would be showing on the screens out there. There is, some other assets out here that, like the welcome video. I think there is another welcome JPEG video JPEG image that can be shown on the screen. Then we also down here have the live feed from the PTZ camera. So if I click on that, then what we see on the PTZ camera is going to show up here, and it will show up on the window, on the screens in the sanctuary. Okay. So one thing, we did have some assets here that we were using for the funeral. So if it's something that you see that you don't need for that particular service, you can click on the little pencil icon, and then you'll have the option to delete it over here. Okay, so you can go ahead and click that, and it will delete that asset. I'm gonna do the same thing with the video that we had for that service. I'm gonna click on the pencil icon. It brings the dialog up on the right, and I can delete that as well. Okay. By the same token, if it's something that you need to add to this presentation, to this service, you can actually just come over here to media, click on media, and it's going to bring you and show you a list of all the media that you have currently in there. So let's say, for example, we have this same picture from the funeral. If we know that we're not going to need that particular media asset anymore, we can just go ahead and click on the trash can icon to delete it. It's going to confirm that you want to delete that one. Just click delete, and it goes away. Okay, and you can do that with any of the assets that you know that you don't need. So again, I'm gonna do this with the video from that service. I'm gonna go ahead and delete it, and now it's gone. Okay, so if we need to add anything to our service, we can go to import media, and then we can navigate out to wherever you have things stored on the hard drive. So I'm just going to pull this one in. I think we used this for training before. I'm going to go ahead and click on this media asset, click open, and it adds it to my media pool. Okay, so it's in the media pool, but it's not in my service yet. If I was to go ahead and click on this plus icon, and you see the little pop-up came up, it says add to service. When I click that, it adds that to the service. So then if I needed it, I would just click on it, and it would show on the screen. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the video, and then just like we did before, I'm gonna go to the pencil icon since I don't need this anymore. Click that. I'm gonna say delete it. That removed it from the service. And if I go back into media, I can click on the trash can icon to delete it from my media pool. So now it's not in there for us to do anything with anymore. Okay, so that's our brief look into Presenter by Worship Tools. And again, the way I have it sized, I don't necessarily have to minimize this. I can leave it where it is, and we can kind of stack programs on top of each other. The last thing that we need to open up, so we have, at this point, we have PTZ Optics, we have the Studio Monitor, we have the ATEM software, we have Bible Show, and we have Presenter open. The last thing we want to open up is our Microsoft Edge window, that when it opens up, it's going to open up the Evmux dashboard. So I'm going to double click on that. And Evmux is going to open up for us. And as we get in here, we see that we have, of course, we have the test studio that was set up. I set up a different studio just for the funeral. And if I go in there, we'll see that the assets that we have in this one is a little bit different than we have for our Sunday service, because we wanted to make sure that we had a set up that we don't have to, change and do a lot of moving around before we actually do the service. We can again have one that's specific for that service. So again, this one, it has the camera just like we are normally seeing. And then I had, some lower thirds that were specific for the service. I had an intro screen that had the picture from the funeral service along with the camera, just things of that nature. So we do have the option here to set up studios that's specific to whatever type service that you're doing. If it's something different than your normal Sunday service and you don't want to mess up that flow, you can set up a studio that's specific to whatever you're doing. Okay, so I'm gonna change from this over to my worship service, and it's loading everything right now. Okay, so it's verifying that we have the camera that we're going to be using. If it was a different camera that we would want to switch to, we can go into this cog and we could switch the camera, but we want it to be on Blackmagic Design. So just make a note that that's what we need to have showing. The audio, it's always good to check and see where your audio is coming from. Like right now, it says capture input terminal NDI. That's not what we want. We want to click on the little drop down and then we want to find the one that says microphone Blackmagic Design. Okay. Once we have that done, we can go ahead and click the X to get out of there. And then we can click enter the studio. Okay, so we get into the studio, and at the bottom we see that this is the camera coming in. That's the camera coming in through the ATEM switcher. For this demonstration, I am actually logged into it from my computer, so I can show you, both screens at the same time. So I can see, mine there. And then we want to do one other thing before we get started. If we come over here right below the picture, there is an icon for share screen. Okay, and this is going to allow us to bring in the video output that's going to the monitors in the sanctuary into our live stream. So what we want to do is click on the icon for share screen. And when the box comes up, we want to go over to entire screen. When we do that, we see two screens listed here. The first one, this is the actual laptop, and then you see screen 2. When we add the third monitor to it, you're going to see 3. And you just want to make sure that you choose the one that is the output for the sanctuary screen. So I want to click on that and click share. Okay, so that's going to bring that third instance in. Right now it looks the same as our regular monitor because right now it's set so that it's showing the video from the camera on the screens in the sanctuary. But if I was to go to, let's say for example, I come over here and I show something in presenter. Then I come back over here, I see that on this screen is changed to show what is on the sanctuary monitors. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that the way it is right now. And right now we're almost set up to go live. If you see this little icon come up here, that little yellow icon, just either click the X on it and it'll go away, or after a few minutes it'll go away by itself. Okay. Since they did a recording of the press conference yesterday, we have our destinations turned off. So this is kind of a good educational piece where we can show that we can turn destinations on and off and get them ready to go. So to turn the destinations on, we just want to click on the destinations button. And we see that we have 2 destinations. One is the Facebook, one is YouTube. And right now, you can tell by this little switch here, they're turned off. If I click on this little switch, it's going to change to a blue background and a white foreground. That shows that is turned on. I want to do the same thing with the YouTube. I want to turn it on. And I think we talked about before is that when you're in destinations, that's your option to go ahead and update the information if you need to. So I can click this little drop down and it shows me the title and the description. You know, if you want to leave this the same and change it later, you can do that. You know, so it's going to be the same in both of them. Uh, you know, that's up to you how you want to manage that. Once you get this turned on and enter the update the information if you need to, just go ahead and click on save. Okay. Later on, we'll come back and talk about what we're gonna do to to good. I can cut this off. Talk about what we can do to preset your service so that it sends out notifications and let them know when you're going to be going live. Okay, so right now we're ready to go live. So really, if you click go live right now, it would start sending the video to each of your destinations, and from that point you're live streaming. Okay, so let's go over a couple of things within here. I think we've talked about the fact that everything is set up on layers. Whatever is closest to the top on the list, that's going to show up over everything else. It's going to be like an overlay on top of everything. So we see that our video from the sanctuary is at the bottom, so that everything is stacked on top of it. We're not really worried about the music section here, but you do have comments. And I think we talked about this before that as people are commenting on Facebook and YouTube, those comments are going to show up in this window. And if there's one that's appropriate and you want to show it on the screen, you can just click on that comment and it'll show up on the screen. It'll remain there for 10 seconds and then it'll automatically go away. Okay? The other thing that we have here is banners. And I think somebody there kind of used one of them, did a ticker for birthdays. So, like this one here, I think this is the one that they use for the birthdays. You can click on it and it'll show that ticker at the bottom. And it will remain there until you tell it to turn off. It's not like the comments. It's going to be out there as long as you tell it to be out there. So if I click on it again, it goes away. Okay? So the other thing that we have is just a regular regular banner that shows up much like the comments does. So for Sunday service, I set up one quickly that had the subject of the sermon and the scripture. And if I was you, I would kind of take this and use it over and over because you don't have to set up a new one each time. I just go back and edit what I have there. Because that way I kind of have the template for what I want to do and then I can update it. The way you would edit it is come to these three dots up in the right hand corner of that banner, click on it, and then click on edit. And here it allows you to edit the first line here and then the second line here. Okay? And as you're doing this, the only difference between the scrolling ticker at the bottom is this little click box here. If I was to click this, it would turn that banner into a scroll at the bottom. Okay, so once I edit this, put in the information that I want, all I have to do is click save, and then it's waiting for me to activate it. And again, I would activate it by clicking the show button, letting it come up on the screen, clicking it again, and letting it go away. Okay, so for after that, we just have some basic scenes set up here. The first one is main, and that shows the camera at its full zoom capability. Whatever the camera is set to is going to show exactly in Evmux. Then I have one that is main zoomed. It's just that camera, but it's zoomed in just a little bit more. So it gives you some flexibility to move your camera in a little bit without having to actually change it on the PTZ camera. So you can go back and forth between these anytime you want. Okay. Then I set up one down here. I think it's main with presenter. So again, whatever I have shown down here, this is what is being shown in the sanctuary screens. I can have it superimposed over top um, of the picture, and we have the ability to move that where we want. If it's a little bit too big and it's covering up somebody, you can move it, or you can come here to the corner and resize it. You can have it there, you can move it to the bottom, whatever you want to do. So you have, all the flexibility on how that looks. Okay? The next scene that we have is going to be, I think, ways to give. And I think we have it turned off now. Let me see. I need to move this down. So the way I have it configured, you can either switch to it and have the background, the picture of the church, or if I was to come to the eyeball and turn the church off, it gives you the camera feed and then the QR code for ways to give. Again, you have the ability to move it, put it wherever you want. You guys can kind of figure out exactly how you want it laid out. I'm just giving you a starting point, and you can go from there. The next thing we have is scripture. And what this is just a full screen version of whatever is showing on the sanctuary screen. So right now we have the graphic coming from presenter. But if I was to come over to Bible Show, click on a chapter and verse, and click on show, we see it comes up here where we can see it. Then we also see that it is over in Evmux. Okay, and we have this set so that it shows full screen. If I go back to the one that is the main with presentation, we see we have it, but it's smaller. So again, you have your choice on how you want to display it. I think Deacon wanted it to be full screen, so I made sure that we have that set up so that we have that full screen scripture showing. Okay, so when you're ready to switch back, all you have to do is come back over to one of your main scenes. So if I click on that, it goes back to the camera showing the main, even though in the sanctuary we're still showing the scripture. Then the only thing you would do to stop the scripture from being shown in the sanctuary is go back to Bible Show and click on hide. And it would remove that. And what will be shown is whatever is being displayed in presenter. So if I want this to go away from the the sanctuary screens, all I would do is come over to presenter and just display something else on there. So if I went to the wallpaper, then that's what they see there in the sanctuary. Okay. So it's going to be kind of up to you guys to talk over how you want the flow of service to go. From the respect of what you're displaying on the screen, in the sanctuary, and what you're displaying on the screen in Evmux. So this is really all that you're gonna be doing to basically show your services. This is gonna be everything that has to take place. And once you're finished with everything, just go ahead and do your click on this button here. It would have been changed from go live to, I think it was, have something to indicating to stop service. Click on it and your service will end. A little icon will come up and let you know that it's saving the video, and it'll ask you if you want to look at it now. I usually just say no, I'll look at it later. Let it go ahead and finish that process, because what's happening is that you're streaming and it's saving the video to Facebook, although Facebook's only going to keep it up there for 30 days before they delete it. It's also going to save on YouTube, which is going to be helpful because you can kind of build up your library of your videos. Then it's going to save a copy also on Evmux's servers. So in other videos we'll talk about what we want to do with those videos that save to Evmux, because we're going to want to download them to your computer and then go ahead and delete them on the Evmux server so that it doesn't take up all of your storage space. You're going to have more storage space at at the church on that computer, and later on we'll probably add a network storage device, so you'll have even more storage space to make sure again that you can build your library. And as we go along, we'll talk about ways we can repurpose these videos and get them out to other sources to help attract people to your church. Okay, so again, when you're finished streaming, you'll click the button to turn off the live, and then you can just go through. Once everything is done, you can go through and shut everything down, and that'll be it. So we'll go through some other videos that goes through some of this stuff more in detail. Uh, and when you get a chance, go on YouTube to my YouTube page, which is Tech Lab Studios, and we have other videos on there that's talking about different aspects of software, hardware, and anything having to do with media ministry. So check us out there. We'll have your training videos out there, and we're going to add as we go along. And we'll also kind of point you in the direction of some other channels, some other people that you can watch and help you develop as we go along. So that's it for today. Thank you for your time, and we'll see each other soon.